There's a yellow haze to the air. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I don't see yellow, but look at the sun streaks coming over the top of the building. Wow, that must be an awesome sunrise. But yeah, it feels yellowy. You know what I mean? So we have a wildfire that was burning yesterday. I'll show you a couple clips. I think I already showed you one, but I'll show it to you again. And then I drove by it last night. And it was actually at the refuse center, our little tiny landfill here in town. A couple miles away, really. About, I want to say 3, maybe. And I came back last night about 6:30. I passed it again, and it was still smoking, though. You know, there were no vehicles there. Presumably somebody's watching it as it's smoldering. I've not seen so many wildfires so close to town in my 3 summers here now. I'm so experienced. It's ridiculous when I say, I've not seen that before. And I'm like, well, you haven't been here very long. Stick around. Say good morning to my little friends. Aren't they precious? They just make you happy. I'm so glad they pulled out. Yay. And then my own. I really don't know what brand these roses are. But you know, I think I need more and more of them now that I think about it. Oh my goodness, look at that little bunching over there. You know I couldn't cut that off. I will when it's done. Sweet pea at last. Sweetie. Remind me to wipe that pot out so that when I put it on film, it doesn't look too awfully awful. Might be draggled snapdragons, but you know, they started wiggling. Morning. How are you today? Here we are in the garden again. Had some things I want to talk to you about. Now I have to remember what they are. Somehow I turn the phone on, start the video, I look at me, I got my coffee, and I'm like, you were just thinking about what you were going to say, and now you don't know. Did some things yesterday that I'm going to put in the video today. I'm trying to think of what they are. Just blank. Give me a sec. My goodness, will you look at that morning sky? That is northeast. The streaks in the sky. That's just beautiful, isn't it? We have a lot of clouds today. That is just beautiful. Birdies have shown up already behind me. So there's a definite kind of yellow look to stuff, and I would guess that it actually is from the wildfires we've been having. I haven't seen smoke from the first. Well, there were actually about 5, but they consolidated so that one was just called Wild Horse, and that was 3 little fires. Not little, not by any stretch. A couple thousand acres, and another one closer to I-10, so up the road near the other mountains. I don't even know if they're contained. I keep checking the sites, you know, and I don't feel like anybody's updating. I'm sure they are, and I'm sure I just don't have the right site. Keep checking the weather sites, and the fire sites, and so I don't know what's going on. But the one closest to us yesterday that apparently burned all day long. I was out front filming, was still burning by last night, or smoldering, I believe it was, probably smoldering. There's just a lot of smoke coming off of it. I haven't checked my air quality. I suppose I could for folks who have trouble breathing. I imagine I do too. Anyway, it's got the yellow tinge was my point. Yesterday I did the hydrogen peroxide treatment on a lot of things. I believe I'm supposed to do the baking soda. Oh no, maybe I'll wait a couple days. Yes, I'm trying to think what Gary was saying. Gary Pilarczyk, the Rusted Gardener, Maryland Zone 7A or B. Well, I think he said to wait a couple days. So I had white flies flying off the grapes too, and that really bothered me. I don't want to knowingly see them. They're almost a fact of life here, not in Arizona, but in my garden. I actually don't talk to any other Arizona gardeners that much. I don't talk to any. I mean, it's not like my neighbors don't have some pots and plants, but one, pretends she doesn't even know what she's buying or planting, and so it's not like there's going to be a gardening discussion. When I say whiteflies here, and I corrected myself to say in my garden, I don't know if whiteflies are more prevalent in Arizona. I really don't know that. All I know is here. In fact, you're the only gardeners I talk to. Yesterday morning, I went out. It was 103 yesterday, and it's going to be in the hundreds again today. That's why it's already starting so warm. My other neighbor's air conditioner sounded too loud, according to the neighbor next to her. And so she thought something was wrong. She turned it off, and I don't know what she did all night. Because I called her because her garage door was open. I thought, did she somehow forget that? And she said no, she was keeping it open, and she was just gonna keep windows open and manage. And I'm thinking, of course I got a couch, but I keep it at 72 degrees. I do, and that's a little cold for people that have been in Arizona a long time. Frankly, I'm not acclimatizing, but I'm not new to Arizona, so I hate it when people talk down to me about, well, when you've lived here longer. And I'm like, I think I've been here since before you ever got to Arizona, so not with that. If you haven't lived in Phoenix, if you haven't lived in Tucson, if you haven't walked miles to school every day, no, nope, zip. So I went outside to water out front, and so I used T-connectors in my spaghetti lines because I have a lot of pots and I want to come off. And well, there's one that kept popping off, and the line kept popping off the T, and it's been out there since last year. So it's tired, it's old, it's hot, it's stretched out. It's like I need a new spaghetti line. And then another one popped off yesterday, and I was watering manually, but I do have automatics set there to water at about, I think it was off at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know why. It's, again, on the older Raindrip timers, there is no time that you can set, no really clock face time, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. You can set it for 12 hours, 24 hours, 2 hours from whatever time you set it. I gotta say, I do like the b-hyve better because I can manually adjust it, but it's $70 a pop, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. They might be worth it. All right, I'm back. I'm back on track. I went out to water. Turned on the irrigation manually because in this heat we're supplementing our normal watering. Should be anyway. And I was going to water a few things manually that I had bought or put out or relocated, or an area of the house on the side in the front that I don't have drip run out to, because it just seems like that's a lot of drip line in the little house. I stop it at the fence over there, the wall over there, but I should actually be running it along the edge. I've got that stuff as xeriscape though, whatever I got potted over there, planted. So again, so the line pops off, and then I see another one pops off in my sort of this little front bed. I had a design that's on top of that massive oak tree root where nothing can be planted there because there's no ground. It's a big tree root, and it's massive. The roots, the bottom of the roots, not that base, not the trunk, the bottom of the roots were at least this wide, stretching out. I mean, the poor thing. It had been growing on the surface trying to get water underneath the gravel. I said, it's time to replace the spaghetti line. This connector can't be. This isn't a kind of connector you can clamp. It just stays on by the grace of a little tiny barb on that little plastic. And the sun really beats on the spaghetti line more than anything, and it just wears it out. And it should be, as Laura in Garden Answer says, replaced every year if need be. I'm too lazy to do that because I got a lot of spaghetti line. Well, anyway, so I'm standing there staring. I got my kit out, and I'm staring, and I'm like, this setup isn't working. I've got spaghetti lines teeing off and then teeing off. I'm trying to do 6, 7 pots with spaghetti lines teeing off of each other. So here comes the one spaghetti line all the way from the drip that was against the wall below the spigot, the half-inch tubing. And then I had a spaghetti line coming out, and a really good drip irrigation gardener is gonna go, what? No, do another half-inch. So I became a really good drip. No. I said, it's time. And I had the ½ inch for other projects that I'd planned on. So then it's a matter of studying, because it's quite the Rubik's Cube. Setting irrigation up, trying to figure out what is the best delivery system, what gets the water furthest, fastest, bestest, or not too much water, whatever you need. I stood there staring for a while. Well, you know my deal. I can't stand being out front. I just can't. And I'm getting like, not a phobia, because I've already had the phobia, but I'm just getting very, very uncomfortable being out front. And I knew I had to do the work. So, but always under observation. And I know that's a natural part of living in a housing area. I ended up, instead of cutting into the existing line and putting a T in there, because in my opinion, wherever you start to do connectors or T's, that is a point of a leak. That is a potential point of a leak. For instance, those little spaghetti lines have been popping off that one T. If I hadn't had a T there, they wouldn't pop off. So I decided, I had a spare timer I just bought. I'm starting to sweat, it's that hot. I had a timer I had bought and hadn't used, and it was just a regular rain drip timer, but a newer model. I said, yep, I've got 4 spigots, I've got 1 timer, a hose, I got room for another timer. What was always the intention. When I put 4 spigots up, I'm giving myself some elbow room to add some water sources or delivery systems. So I put the timer in, I wrestled. I'm not gonna lie, I had to wrestle with it quite a bit. My lefty, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey was crazy. I didn't have a lot of room because there were pots in there. I was panicked because I was out front, didn't wanna be. Trying to rush 103 or 100, I don't know, it doesn't matter after 99. I'm sweating, I'm dying, I'm about to pass out half the time. I got it done. I did have to cut the video off because I simply could not keep the camera on the situation. The phone was gonna overheat. I could not get lefty, loosey, righty, tighty, right to get the timer on and all the connectors that were onto it. And then I'd put in an elbow and it was very snug to the ground. I couldn't get that while the camera was running. It was the craziest thing, and I had to turn it off. I would like to do another whitefly treatment. The hydrogen peroxide had to be done before it gets hot or sunny, I believe. Yeah, no sun, so I did do that early. I would like to do another whitefly treatment, but I'll have to get up really early and do it before 5. I hear the hummingbirds going for it. I do need to fix their feeders today and give them some juice. In fact, that may be the discussion behind me. They had about that much yesterday, and they when this heat that is pouring. I don't keep bird baths around. Of course, I have 2 little pots that I've turned into fountains, but honestly, the stuff that builds up in bird baths is gross. Not that I want birds hanging out anyway. I know what you're thinking. What are you saying? You've got birds there all the time. You seem to encourage them. And I'm like, I know. I don't know what to say about that. I don't want them eating my plants. There's a cute little overview of the daylilies, if you can get beyond the birds. Oh, sunflowers open. I'll show that to you in a minute. But if you can get over the birds eating the sunflower leaves and that kind of trashy look, it's happening. Ta-da! First ones of the season. Oh, I'll do a close-up on the camera, in editing. How cute is that? Let's see, is that a little closer? Let's rotate you just a bit so you can see the other one getting ready to go. There you go. And he's getting ready to open. Let's see. That guy right there is somewhere, I don't know where my fingers are half the time. And the other one is almost open. And that's all the sunflowers for this year. It's all the seeds that took. A couple of them didn't. A couple of them laid down. They were too thin. But I think that's enough. You know, I guess, could I maybe have, it looks like one didn't. But how fun is that? I didn't do another measurement. I'm gonna stop at 8 feet, 8'2". I'm gonna say that's the max size for the year. I don't think he grew any taller than that other than his bud. Yay, sunflowers! Yay! Sunflowers! Thanks for having coffee with me in the morning.